Balancing of accounts. Now students, we all know that once journal entries have been passed, they are then posted to ledger accounts, that is on the debit side and on the credit side. So by balancing we means to find the balance at the end of accounting period, that is whatever period that you have defined. It can be a week, it can be a month, but we all know that legally in India it is accepted to be 1 year. So by balancing we means to find the balance at the end of an accounting period. Now students, how do we find the balance? The first step is to total debit and credit sides, and they are in rough. They are not written in the accounts. Find the total of the debit and the credit side. Then find the difference in debit and credit sides. That is, let's say if debit side has a total of 2 lakh and credit side has a total of 1,50,000. So the difference is subtracting them 50,000. Either ways, you can have debit can have a total of, let's say, 3,50,000 and credit has a total of 5 lakh. So the difference would be 1,50,000. Obviously, we are not taking into account their positive and negative signs. So by difference we mean to find the difference in the totals of the debit and the credit side. Now students, once we have found out the differences, then try and analyze whether the debit side is greater than the credit side. If the debit side is greater than the credit side, then balance is written on credit side. That is the smaller of the two sides. Then if debit side is smaller than the credit side, then balance is written on debit side. Again, the same concept applies here, that whatever the difference, if the debit side is smaller, then it is written on the debit side, and if the credit side is smaller, then it is written on the credit side. That is the smaller of the two sides, and then you can total out the accounts. Now let us take an example and see how it actually works out. I am drawing a T-shape account here, let's say for cash only. To Ram 50,000, to sales 1 lakh, to Neeraj 20,000, and on the credit side we have by purchases 30,000, by wages 15,000. Now students, it is a T-shape account. Let us find the balance. This is credit side, this is debit side. Again, following the same steps, on the debit side, the total is, this is rough work, the total comes to 1,70,000. And on the credit side, the total comes to 45,000. Now students, the debit side is greater. The debit side is greater. And the difference in the amounts is 1,25,000. Since the debit side is greater and the credit side is smaller, we all know the balance is substituted or is actually shown on the smaller side. So in this side, the balance would be shown on the credit side and written as by balance CD. CD means carried down, that is carried down to the next accounting period. So in this case, 1,25,000 will appear here and the totals would be 1,70,000 on both the sides. Now, this balance of 1,25,000 that we have calculated will be shown on the debit side as to balance brought down 1,25,000 in the beginning of the next period. This brought down means that this balance has been brought down from the previous accounting period.